we got here? Let's see what Mr. Stoic Stick got here for us with the black magic.
Superstition. Black magic for most is just superstition and parlor tricks, but the people who engage in it believe it to be very real. And that belief has some serious
The
real-world
voodoo?
consequences.
Are you gonna hex
I don't know
people?
if the
What are you
voodoo
doing?
boys paid off someone at Meta, but these witch doctor posts are getting more and more common in my feed. Especially these Ghanaian
it's 'cause
witchcraft
it's
posts on my Instagram
Goddamn.
reels. If you aren't familiar, here's just a taste of some of it.
I am ready to sacrifice all members of my family to ensure my
What the
wealth
fuck?
remains.
Where does he find these
You
things?
must never cut your hair again. You must never eat food that contains red oil. You must
never cut your hair again. I should probably stop saying this all the time, but it's like a brainworm. Hopefully not in the literal sense. Anyway, I thought it would be interesting to look at the still vibrant and thriving business and practice of voodoo and black magic. I've decided I'm going to split the continents and maybe make a video on each separately, but first we're going to start with Africa and a simple one that is bulletproofing. This is like a super common magical power / belief that's found in a lot of places in Africa, like the cannibal warlords of Liberia, who would sacrifice children to make bullets phase through their soldiers, also children, to the everyday sorcerer in Nigeria, where not even 2 years ago someone was killed by a failed bulletproofing ritual.
What they were
But
trying
no,
to
we're
do?
going back about
Oh,
120
yes.
years to the Marji Rebellion, which was an uprising of the native population in German East Africa as a direct response to the harsh taxes being imposed on them. To begin with,
As
I'll
usual.
just show you the scorecard. And
That's one way
yeah,
to piss
that's
off
a
a lot of people,
pretty
right?
insane KD,
Tax
I'm
the
not
shit
going
out
to
of them.
lie. About 100 German army
That they
soldiers
can't fucking
and
pay.
300 mercenaries to the up to 300,000 lost on the rebel side. To understand why this rebellion was so heavily one-sided, you need to understand the spiritual man and magician Kinje Kitile Ngwale. It's said that in 1904
Sounds like one of those
he was possessed by
Kunta
the
Kinte guys.
snake spirit Hongo and began to call himself Bokoro. He became a legend in the land and developed the belief that the people of East Africa were called on by God to eradicate the Germans. To help them in their quest, Bokoro developed this war medicine, which was a blend of water, castor oil, and millet seeds, locally known as Marji, hence the name of the rebellion. He told his followers that drinking this water blend would make the German bullets turn to water as it touched their bodies, making them bulletproof.
Don't believe this, by the way.
In July 1905 and was mostly
this
just
is some
raids
superstitious
on farms.
bullshit.
Then a week later, Bokoro was captured and hung, which you might have thought would be the end of the whole rebellion, but at his execution, he proclaimed that he had distributed his magic bulletproof potion to the people and as a result became a martyr for the cause, which massively helped the war effort, leading to more and more attacks and raids, including the killing of 5 missionaries. If you want me to sum up the rebellion, it was mostly just these small skirmishes where the rebels attack, the Germans wheel in a machine gun, the rebels scoff at said machine gun, and then the rebels get massacred. And this cycle then repeats in a different part of the land.
my Mudgy is gonna save me.
I
have bullet holes through me.
To march on and attack a German military site. They disagreed on when to attack, so they split into 2 groups. Group 1 attacked first and stood firm for about 15 minutes under machine gun fire before they realized the magic potion didn't do shit and those bullets definitely weren't turning to water. I'm guessing that Group 2 definitely saw this occur, but for some reason decided their potions were much
we're
better
gonna try it again.
Actually made it pretty close, getting within 3 paces of the machine guns before still getting massacred. Maybe their potions were a little better, but not quite good enough. It was kind of like a game of rock, paper, scissors, except it's just machine gun spear.
Well, I mean, that was like what, trench warfare back in World War One, right? And fuck you.
Ridiculous as this rebellion was, I believe
you want to go back to the Civil War,
and
fucking just running at each other.
And all I can say is, Godspeed. The Americans basically did the same thing,
Godspeed
except
indeed.
less magic,
Jeez.
more actual guns. Which maybe
Fucking
speaks to why
suicide
the
mission,
Americans were
really.
successful and the rebels not so much. The actual casualties to gunfire and fighting aren't actually that high. Most of the deaths occurred due to the famine the Germans imposed on the natives afterwards in an attempt to completely destroy the rebels. Which makes the initial scorecard seem a little dishonest, but that's just how it goes, I guess. One last point on this, the belief of magic potions making you bulletproof isn't necessarily completely stupid, as in a report that was featured in the American Economic Review titled "Why Being Wrong Can Be Right, Magical Warfare Technologies and the Persistence of False Beliefs."
Magical warfare? I'm
this
sorry,
belief
what?
of being bulletproof can allow for soldiers to be more fearless and allow them to win conflicts.
I am
when both
surprised
sides
this
have
is
about similar
actually a
firepower.
thing. I don't
And
why.
if an army is winning a lot of battles and
Magical,
drinking magic
okay.
protection potions, I might be
Now I know
more
these
inclined
people
to
are all
believe
like on crack
the
or
next
something.
example of black magic shenanigans that we have is penis snatching. Yes, penis snatching. No, I'm not making this up. In parts of West and Central Africa, there are superstitions that magicians and sorcerers can cast a spell that will cause a man's penis to shrink, sometimes for the purposes of stealing it to use in magic rituals. Now, I hate journalists, but this one story is so ridiculous that I had to share it. A story
that
by
sounds
Kingsley
ridiculous.
Charles for New Line magazine, which is apparently a highly credible news source.
No.
This is an excerpt from it. Late in the evening of September 10th, at a busy intersection in downtown Calabar in southeastern Nigeria,
What is
a man
happening?
raised the alarm that his penis had disappeared. A crowd
What?
of bystanders promptly rushed to his rescue. What he saw was smaller than a grain of rice, and there were no testicles too, an eyewitness told New Lines. Crying desperately, the man pointed at
The
another
dude
man
lost his
whom he
children
alleged to have
somehow?
snatched his
I'm
genitals during a handshake. Commotion ensued. An irate mob pounced on the accused with a torrent of fists, demanding he restore the other's organ. No sooner had the police arrived at the scene than the crying man confirmed that his penis had returned. Next time you're thinking of closing a business deal, maybe don't seal the deal with a handshake, lest you meet with a most pernicious fate. Stolen penis. Okay, but actually this is stupid. Imagine getting your shit kicked in because you shook someone's hand. And I do have to say, it's pretty convenient that it's back to normal right as the police arrive.
Yeah,
But that
exactly.
just goes to show how widely held these beliefs are, and that penis snatching is a serious fear that a lot of people in this region have. This
I guess they're
report wasn't
afraid to
even
get
that
their
long ago. It
dick
was in
chopped off.
2023.
I'm just,
And
that's what
this
I'm guessing.
incident
I
is
don't know.
actually pretty tame compared to what used to
What?
happen, like in 1997 in Ghana, when 7 men were lynched because they were accused of trying to extort money out of people through penis snatching. It also happened in 2008 when another separate mob of people tried to lynch a bunch of sorcerers for the same crime. Apparently, at the time,
the shamans.
major radio stations were warning their
Shamans
listeners
going
to be
out
wary
and
of
saying some
people in
ridiculous
rideshare
shit, yeah?
taxis that wore gold rings as potential penis snatchers. Imagine getting a rideshare and you see this guy to your left. He's got on enough gold to possibly even take the sack as well. Not an ideal situation, if I'm being honest. One thing I did
These shamans are
gloss
very
over, I
materialistic,
realized, is
by
that
the way.
the man just pulled his shaboing boing out in the middle of the street and showed it to random people to prove that it was small. Those men, seeing the small shaboing boing, immediately leaped into action and beat a random man that they had no prior contact with. A completely ridiculous situation, but apparently one that's not uncommon. In all fairness though, if this was real and you could have your penis stolen, I'm pretty sure 99% of men would also partake in beating penis stealers, myself included. But that's just my 2 cents on this though. Next up, we have Obia men who can kill people by stealing shadows and nailing them to trees. Fun fact, Brad Pitt had to play an Obia man in Meet Joe Black, where he had to speak in Jamaican patois and the line delivery is just chef's kiss.
Obia man, I'm going to die. Mama, stop it. It's just a man.
No, be a sister, no devil, no dopey. Everything gonna be irie.
Everything one
Just
be
yeah,
aight.
that was so.
Almost as good as the me think me gwan take me own life Brad Pitt meme. Jamaican Brad Pitt aside, how the shadow stealing actually works
Yeah,
is
that
the
was so
dirty
weird.
combination of animal
To have
blood,
fucking Brad
feathers,
Pitt do
bones,
that.
eggs, etc. They create this
Oh.
magic ritual that summons
Oh,
a duppy
shit.
or evil spirit entity to snatch away the target's soul.
Just a white man
after
speaking
which it will
Jamaican
be
out of
tied
nowhere
to
for
a
some
tree
reason.
and held there by the duppies.
Just a full-on
Shortly after
American
this, the
speaking
target will
fucking
fall ill and
Jamaican.
die.
Or
I
the
feel as though
Jamaican,
this
I
would
guess.
be
I don't
one of
fucking
the
know.
easiest things to disprove. Shadows aren't technically even yours. They're just the absence of light in an area. It would take about all of 2 seconds to prove that you still had your shadow. Anyway, there are Mayal men, who are the spiritual opponents of Obia men, willing to help you reclaim your stolen shadow. For a fee, of course.
Ah, yes.
They'll chant
for money.
spells and throw eggs and a dead fowl at the cotton tree in order to make the duppies release your shadow and allow it to return to you. The idea of throwing eggs at demons to make them release someone's shadow is quite funny, and if that doesn't work, someone bring in the chicken and the chicken launcher. Obia men and women also like to do a lot of rituals with goats and chickens,
No.
which is kind of like the real
sacrifice?
deal black magic stuff.
Oh,
Not like
yeah.
the
Okay.
Reddit chungus shit that you normally see.
Yeah.
Like, like look at this post in the r/witch subreddit.
Fuck
It
is
reads
that?
like excellent satire, but it's 100% genuine. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's about as effective as photoshopping ice agents into a Dora the Explorer episode and chanting "Ice, no icing." But yeah,
Ice,
that's
no
shadow
icing.
stealing and Obia. The final one we have is pretty sad actually, but it's not the black magic itself, but the quote-unquote response to it, which I do consider to be part of the shenanigans. Witch finding is a pretty lucrative business. If
Is
you
that
can
a
find
satellite?
people who are emotionally distraught and then convince them that all the bad things happening to them are actually someone else's fault,
You know, like
you'll
fear
do
mongering?
pretty well. Even better if, for a small fee, you can find and torture that person.
Ah,
Most
murder
people
for
would
hire.
take that
Yes.
offer. Damn good deal. In practice, though, you
Please
get
murder
this
this
small
person for
minority
me.
of Pentecostal pastors
black
in
magic.
Nigeria who, to compete with other churches for attendees, make grand displays and
Well, I'm
attractions
sorry.
by
The
claiming to be able to
yeah,
detect.
this was 6 years ago. Pentecostal pastors continue to brand children as witches in Nigeria, by the way. This was 6 years ago. See, this is why Africa is a little fucked up, right? Nigeria's fucked up, Congo's fucked up, Rwanda's fucked
Child witches and conjurers.
Probably
There seems to
Chad's
be
fucked
a
up right
reoccurring
now. I don't
theme
know.
with these Pentecostal pastors. First, it was the generational curse.
I break every generational
What the
curse
fuck is
off
this?
you, off
Is
of
that
this
an
whole
Asian
family.
guy?
And I did
And now this. These claims of being
What
able
the
to
fuck
find
is that?
witches and child witches inevitably leads to those same children being attacked, disowned, and sometimes tortured to death.
Nigeria,
sometimes
Ghana,
by the
and
pastors
Malawi.
themselves.
Malawi?
Between 2000 and
I'm sorry,
2010,
I butchered
almost
that last
1,000
one.
so-called child witches were killed in just 2 states alone in southern Nigeria. A key leader in these witch hunts is a lady by the name of Helen Ukpabio, who preaches the ideas of defeating witchcraft and the devil. Here's a quote from
yes.
her book, Unveiling the
Defeating
Mysteries of
witchcraft and the devil.
Quote, "If a child under the age of 2 screams in the night, cries, and is always feverish with deteriorating health, he or she is a servant of Satan." Seems a bit excessive, I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure what Satan's going to do with a legion of sickly 2-year-olds, but maybe I'm thinking too many steps ahead.
Yeah,
These
what?
ideas and beliefs that she
Well, I guess Satan's gonna abort them somehow? I don't like it.
spreads, some could argue, have directly led to the
Go with like
burnings,
300,
maimings,
right?
even
Fucking
deaths of hundreds of
chuck them off the
children.
cliff or
I
something?
wouldn't argue
Oh,
this,
fucking.
though. Other people might, just for clarification. Only saying this as she's known to be extremely litigious and has a lot of money for frivolous lawsuits. Also, she has a mustache. which I thought was of the utmost importance to note.
Ah, yes.
Octavio has also made numerous films
Because the
depicting
stash
child
means
witches and
you're
witchcraft,
very
such as
mature
her
and
most
manly,
famous
yes.
work, End of the Wicked. But yeah, this seems
More,
to be
more
the
reputable,
consequence
yes.
of widespread ignorance. And as usual, it's the most vulnerable who have to pay the price. Hang on, I'm reading something. It says in this crystal ball here that you have a strong, compelling feeling telling you that you would like to subscribe and also like the video. And if you did like the video, then you will also check out my other videos. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
Alright, there you have it.
Bye.
Mr. Stoic Stick. General Button. Obsessed with Starbucks. I'm Nigerian and don't believe in black magic, and I always say this to people who say they do believe. If black magic was real, our president would be dead by now. Jesus. He's basically implying that a lot of people would have fucking done some like black magic shit on the fucking president. I mean, shit, maybe a lot of people, I mean, shit, if you were in America and fucking that shit was going on, yeah, there would be some people trying to do some black magic shit to, like, Trump or something. I call it a human sacrifice. Rhymes with grug. We was magic and she is cuss. Oh, fuck. The fact that they tried to fucking use like water to stop bullets, yeah, that's yeah, fuck it. Some water and some plants to try and stop some bullets, yeah, that's a smart way to go about it. Yeah, that's your level 3 armor, yes, it'll block all the bullets. Oh fuck. Well, there you have it. Stoic Stick, Black Magic Shenanigans. He has also some other stuff too if you want to take a look.